Very good. It's our time. Let's do a quick prayer.
Hello, everyone.
Father Almighty, blessed be your name with us in this path, in this journey. Help us out. Every time we feel tired, every time we feel alone, every time we feel in need of you, that this study could be part of our process to reach you one day, that this study could be helping participants and could be helping those that are in need of this information, of this knowledge. Be with us today and always. So be it.
Amen.
So, let me share my book with you all. Hoping that will work. I guess it does. Let me just adjust my screens. So I can try to see who may raise the hand or something like that. All right. We are continuing speaking about meetings and societies. Some would even believe that the title of member gives them the right to impose their own point of view. Does it sound familiar for you guys? Because it does happen on any gathering, any type of gathering. There's always someone trying to impose themselves or to get a special title for some reason. So that we also see on the Spiritist meetings. It does not mean that the title corresponds to the moral evolution of the person or the experience or not. It's just a title. So we should not be getting attached to the title. Like we see quite often people trying to be on the spotlight, being like, I am this, I am that, I am this, you know. And we also see a lot on the internet. Today we're going to have the PhD engineer, astrophysics, blah, blah, blah. Yes. What about his spiritist knowledge? Is the thing that comes last, you know? It's like we need to convince people that they are the best on their career, their professional career, not on the spiritism. So we need to be a bit careful with that. Some people may not helping doing that because you may be boosting pride, you know, and pride we know what can give. We need to be careful. Then there would be conflict, which is the cause of ill will. I had the opportunity to see situations where it was not very nice because people trying to, I am this. You do what I'm telling you to do. In a spiritist center. So it's not very nice. So I hope that people that are studying with us, they will get enough information to realize that is not important and that we should not be fighting for it. This would sooner or later lead to disunion and afterwards to dissolution. The fate of all societies under such conditions, whatever their purpose may be. It also happens to spiritist centers. Don't think does not happen on the Spiritist Center. No, because on the Spiritist Center / Spiritist meetings, gatherings, where all the sick are. Don't you think that because you're going to a Spiritist Center or you are in the Spiritist meeting, that everybody is better than the majority? No, 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 no. It's exactly the opposite. If we are here, it's because we are sick, because we have something to learn. People, they may not be here. They may not need to learn anything, or they know already something that we don't. So don't think ever that because you are a Spiritist, you have more culture, you have more knowledge, you're more evolved. Don't think about it. And in some places, we hear a lot. Well, Spiritists are those who have better culture, who have PhDs, who have been doctor. This is not true. Definitely not. Small groups are not subject to such problems. It's not they are not. They don't have that kind of problems, but it's a bit more difficult because we know each other. We sometimes it's family like, sometimes, and you may face that in small groups too, but not that often. Small groups are not subject to such a problems, however. The disbanding of a large society would look like a failure for the Spiritist cause, and its enemies would not hesitate to exploit it. I wish I could tell you guys that I never saw any situation like that, but I did more than once. And that's all the adversaries of the Spiritism wants. They want us to stop. And I kid you not, they're going to use us to do that. They're going to use our vices to do that. They're going to use our weakness to do that. And they do. They do. They use our lack of knowledge. They use our pride. They truly use our vices. The vices could be any vice you may think. And when a Spiritist center or a group or a meeting, you start to think that it may happen to others, not to us, it's exactly when you are in danger because you forget to evaluate everything. You think you are better than others. No one at all is protected 100% against it. So we need to be careful. And in a meeting like that here, it's very easy to have 20 participants, 15, 10, 5, 2, let's stop. Because let's say Munir start to say things about me when I'm not here. I'm start to say things about Munir when Munir is not here. When we both are together, we agree about saying something about Pablo. And then we start. Or someone that feels like very touchy about some subject start to create noisy about, I don't agree, and is still whining about that for too long. And then start to convincing other people, 2, 3, 4, and they go. My experience says that every time when we are attacked by spirits that do not want us to continue, we lose someone. And people leave giving excuses. Oh, I need to work that time, or I'm not able to come anymore. People leave. And we need to be attentive because quite often the modus operandi of those spirits are the same. Today they will use me to speak badly about Munir, about Pablo, about everyone. That will come down. A few months went by, more than a year, maybe more. And then another wave will come, but this time it's not with me. This time will be with Camila, for example. Camila will start to, yes, you too. Camila will start to do something exactly the same as happened to the first one. Things will cool down again. After a period of time, something will happen with later. Will be later time. Later we'll do exactly the same. And I used to say that the actors may change, but the script is almost the same. And every time a wave like that comes, we lose one, two, three. Sometimes, depending on the intensity and the lack of experience of its members to notice what's going on, it may lead to a fatal failure. Things may stop. So we need to be very, very careful with that. Hi, Camila.
It's nice you say about that, right? Because these last 2 weeks, I was reading the mediumship information of this book and the obsession chapter. So they speak about that, right? That all mediums are can be obsessed, and is actually is very common. Indeed, for we learn, right? Indeed, for our it's for our benefit as well, because that they allow, right? So it's I would like indeed to understand more, because indeed Givaldo or Chico, when we see their materials, besides they only do charity, right? They also have many manifestations like of bad and evil spirits. So I was think if that also is not an opportunity for we try to help ourselves and the spirit.
Every case is a different case. There are situations that are brought to the Spirit Center to be like a lesson to the individual or to the group. But there are scenarios that the benefactors cannot avoid that to happen, and that's nothing related to them, because we have a free will. Let me paint a picture here. I'm a medium that do not study. I'm a medium that comes late every time. I'm a medium that does not come in that often. I'm a medium that do nothing right. I'm just a medium to allow the spirit to speak to me during 30 minutes that time, chosen a week or a month or whatever. So the only thing I'm allowing is to use my body for 30 minutes and that's it. Who you think your friends, spiritual friends are? And sometimes they are so attached, the spirits that are with us are so attached to us. It's a symbiosis. We cannot even separate both, because if you do separate both, the results can be catastrophic. It has to be something homeopathic. So whenever you go, your friend is with you, or the group of friends is with you. And the benefactor cannot prevent sometimes. People would like to think that benefactors, they have superpowers. They can do anything. On the other hand, we can do anything bad because my super duper benefactor can do anything. And that's not the truth. That's not, doesn't work like that. You know? If you don't do our part, sometimes it's very difficult to guardian angel or to our benefactor to help us out. So it depends. I cannot create like a, yes, is this or that, because every case is different. Should we learn for every case? Yes. We should evaluate, we should analyze, we should learn from every situation we are exposed. But not all situations are created to us to. Not every situation is created like a lesson to us. Some situations are created due to a lack of responsibility today or in the past. All right? Hi, Usoli.
Good morning. I'm sorry, I'm
Morning.
a little bit later. Sorry. I would like to say, because I don't know what's happening with Leta. Oops, it always good for her. I don't know. I don't
Let me stop you. Let me stop you. There's nothing happening with Leta. I was just using some people here as an example. There's nothing happened to anyone.
Okay. But I understood I pick up this what you talked about. This is a problem in hell in mediumness mediumship because I remember I started to study the mediums in São Paulo, and it's a little spirit center, very good, Dr. Donoslavia, and I think it was her said about an example of an spirit and come. Okay, oh, shine, so, and told. And, but suddenly, it was something what was wrong, what he said. And she said, I don't know, I wasn't there. It was only an example she said about. And she told about. And she said, so here. So people, mediums, see the feet, the feet. This feet, it was I think a horse or a cow feet. So it was one obsession on trying to hypnotize everybody. I think so. I would like to know about Guilherme. This is very, very serious. I want you can talk about this. Thank you.
My sister, it's very difficult to me to talk about something that I don't experience myself. So the only thing I can speak about it is that there are several degrees of obsession. Not every time we hear that person has an obsession is true, because people that do not really understand what an obsession is and the degrees of level of influence of spirits are, they call everything obsession, and sometimes it's not obsession. So I'm sorry, but I cannot comment on this event.
Hey, no problem. It was only one example. No.
And
I asked you if you knew about.
but I
But
would like to
no.
use what Elsoli is saying to give us a warning, like, don't be very quick to judge. Look at the word I'm using, judge, that someone is having an obsession. We all are under the influence of spirits, period. We all. We all are under influence of spirits 24/7. Why are you saying that? Because we are surrounded by them all the time. It does not configure an obsession. We may have one spirit that comes closer to you for a day or two, and he's not feeling very happy, and then you feel sad. You say something stupid, or at that day in particular, you don't feel well. Depending who you're going to talk with, oh, you have an obsession. And it's not. So be careful. Don't jump into conclusions, and most of all, never say to someone that the person has an obsession. Never. You have no idea of the responsibility you're getting into saying to someone that someone has an obsession. Because you can be wrong. And most of the time you are wrong. And someone listening to this may create a damage that you cannot prevent and you cannot fix afterwards. Because if you're saying something like that, it means that you don't have enough experience. And if you don't have enough experience after the harm has been done, you won't know how to fix. Depending where the person are,
Sorry.
Depending where the person are, there's no help. There's no, let's say in Europe, there's no spiritist center everywhere. And if someone inadvertently say to someone that you have an obsession, that person may go into depression, may do something not recommended, may try to attempt against her own life because of your words. So again, never say to someone that someone has an obsession. Because a lot of mediums believe they are empowered by God to say to someone they have an obsession. A lot of mediums, I think they are empowered by God to recognize every obsession in the world, and it's not like that.
And she was, was a class. It was only a example to show, you know.
Understood?
This
Understood.
is very, very serious. Espírito Santo e São Paulo, é nossa casa, Rita. The name is. It was only an example, not to happen some. No, 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 no. It was an example. Could be. So why medium behave to study medium's book? Always, always, every day, if possible.
Very good. Very good. Hi, Camila.
No, I would say that about what he actually said, right? He has a history about Chico Xavier as well, that they came and they were speaking like for he stopped to do some kind of work. And then Emmanuel asked for Chico look at the feet, and the feet was animal feet, right? So then I don't think always obsession, right? But he has some manifestations, some phenomena that he is like a human and the animals. That is why I don't understand someone would like to see, but but however, uh, mm, that has many cases, right?
I'm going to use what you said just as a reference as well. Uh, a clairvoyant medium can see nice and bad things. So be careful with what you wish for, right? In regards to a spirit to have some deformation in her or his spirit, not necessarily means he's an obsessor, he's an obsession. Could be something else. Again, don't jump into conclusions. The same level of respect and charity we must have with anyone that comes closer to us, we shall have also with the spirits coming closer to us. You don't know the history of the spirit, you don't know what he's going through, or why he's showing that appearance to you. You don't know. Could be something else. So, mediums need to learn how to keep the mouth shut. When we keep our mouth closed, we don't say anything bad. Because anything that goes out from our mouth can have repercussions. I'll give a small example here. There is a part of people that believes that when anyone dies, everyone arrives on the other side exactly the same. And even if an infant dies, the infant, as soon as he died, you arrive on the other side like an adult. He will recover all his past experience. This is lack of experience, of practice, of study. So if you say to one of those kids that may appear on the mediumship meeting, oh, you're dead, you no longer live on earth, and you're not a kid anymore, my God. The minimum I can say, this is lack of charity. So be very careful. Because something you say may create a scenario that you could start to be involved in an obsession. You may never met that spirit, you may never met that person, but because of your position in front of such things, you may start something you do not wish for. So being medium is a responsibility. That's why we need to know what we should do in some events. Okay? The dissolution of a small group would pass unnoticed. If 3, 4, 5 people decide not to do something, it's easy. Nobody will notice, right? If you want this band, 20 others would take its place. When 20 groups of 15 or 20 persons will obtain more and do more for the spread of spiritism than one assembly of 300 to 400. It's a way to see things. I'm inclined to agree with that. I prefer small groups, simple groups, then groups that start to use marble to build their foundations, to make massive structures, to God knows why, right? I prefer to remain in humble places. Not because I'm humble, nothing like that, but because I know it'd be easier to promote the spiritism in those places. Sometimes when you go to places that are very nice, for example, beautiful structures full of marble everywhere, it's not the spiritism who attracts people anymore. It's something else. It may obviously be said that the members of a society acting as we have stated could not be true spiritists, since the first duty of doctrine imposes charity and benevolence. I will always be reminding people that come to our studies. This must be our driving factor. If we see someone not doing charity or doing something against charity, ask yourselves, am I in the right place? Because if a spiritist group or meeting or gathering, whatever you want to be part of, does not have charity as a north, doesn't work for me. This is perfectly correct. And that is why those who behave like that are spiritists more in the name than in the fact. More in the name than in the fact. And that's Kardec here, right? That's not me saying. They do not belong to the third category. But who could say that they could even be called spiritists at all? This is a fairly serious matter to ponder. We need to be asking ourselves, why I'm here in this study? Why I'm part of the Spiritist Center? Why I'm part of the mediumship meeting? Why? We need to know. Depending on our answers, we need to do something about it. We need to change. If your answers today is I don't know, that's fine. Means that there's a massive terrain of opportunities. But depending on your answer, you could be totally misled. And then you need to reevaluate why you're doing things, why you are in that gathering, why you are in that group. Let us not forget that Spiritism has enemies who are interested in preventing its development and who despise its success. Yes, we do. But who is our worst enemy? Any idea? Who is the worst enemy of the Spiritism? No one knows, right?
I think ourselves.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Ourselves. We know, well, if someone just knocking our door today, know very little or nothing is one thing. After 6 months of studying something, gospel, Peter's book, or Spirit's book, or whatever, we cannot say we don't know anymore the basis. We don't need to know everything. Nobody knows everything. This is impossible to know everything. But the basis, we all know. So stick to it. Be true to yourself and do it. The most dangerous are not those who attack it openly, but those who act behind the scenes. Those who carries it with one hand while stabbing with the other. Do you guys think that's possible? Yes, that's possible. We are humans. Sometimes we have a different agenda. Sometimes, as I said in the beginning, we all are sick. And sometimes our diseases make us do things that eventually we will regret. These Malfazan beings infiltrate everywhere they can do evil. And knowing that there is strength in the unit, they try to destroy it by sowing discord. We already spoke about that here today. This is one of the realities that may happen to us. Hopefully, the group that we decide to work with, be part of, does not have such a thing, but is something that we can never disregard. We need to be attentive. We need to be attentive. And sometimes the person will do the discord without even noticing or thinking he or she is 100% right in doing so. So this is part of life. Who will thus say that those who cause trouble and discord in meetings are not adversarial agents interested in the disorder? They are certainly neither true nor good spiritists. They will never do anything good, but can cause much evil. Over the years, I started to be very cautious with very good ideas. I'm not saying I'm against good ideas. I'm not saying I'm against changes, not at all. But over the years, very good ideas were disguised to appear as very good ideas, and the results were not that good. Sometimes we could catch that before it happens. Sometimes too late, because then the harm was already done. So we need to be attentive. When we are doing something that is working, and if you do have someone come with a very good idea, please ask the benefactors. Someone says had an intuition about this, and this should go in this direction. What do you guys think, the benefactors? They may come to you and say, yes, we are giving intuitions to go in that direction. Wonderful. So you know the chances that something will work is greater, because the benefactors are behind the idea and are pushing us to go in that direction. But sometimes they come to you and say, be attentive. This is something we can do, but there was not planned. Because the benefactors, they will never come to you saying, don't do something. I do not recall a benefactor saying, don't do. They come with suggestions, and we have to make a decision. So they will come to you giving you warnings. Be careful, that might happen. Be careful, pay attention on this particular topic, and then you come to your conclusions. So I would recommend good ideas to be validated by the benefactors. And when I mean benefactors, I do not mean any spirit that may knock on your door that day. Has to be a spirit that through your experiences together, you start to create that bond and you trust him or her, right? But it's important to work. A spirit center, in my perception, must work with the spirits. If not, something missing.
Can I make a question about that?
No.
Oh.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Go on.
No, because I have like another day you asking, right? Why you don't ask for the mentor, right? I was thinking about that. I think you are right. I think sometimes we are afraid of to ask, right? Things we can ask more, but at the same time, I was thinking like if you have one idea, right? Sometimes it's maybe is because I mean intern, I don't know, but sometimes you don't know if are you answer that question because you want something or because your preconceptions, right? Or if it really is the answer. So how can we improve ourselves to also be able to?
Experience is everything, right? When you build up your experience through your practice, through your studies, you increase your degree of perception, of evaluation, of analysis, because you start to see things over and over. You see things that work and things that didn't work, or things that didn't work that well. So you start to build up your database where you can use to support your next steps, right? Generally speaking, if you do have a good idea to go on the streets to give food to someone, that can be bad. Nothing bad will come out of that. You become a better person. You will help someone that perhaps is starving. You will convince people to do charity. Nothing bad will come from that. Do I need to ask the benefactor if that's positive or not? You already have your answer. You don't need to ask that. But for example, I want to implement we have a mediumship meeting for 10 years, working very well, assisting everyone, everybody is happy. And I had a brilliant idea. I would like to start to have stroboscopic lights in the meeting during the session. And I would like to have music through the whole process. And you're not talking about classic music. You talk about any other type of music, just as for the picture, okay? You are totally convinced that's very nice. You will maybe even be able to convince good part of the group or even all the group that is That's the new way of doing things, and we need to progress. This is progress, This is Kardec told us things will progress. This is progress. In that case, I strongly recommend to ask the benefactors what they think. If the group is not capable by themselves to evaluate the risks, the nonsense things, I would strongly recommend to ask the benefactors. And then you start to build up your database for the future. Because when you do have other opportunity with ideas that are totally crazy, like, for example, I think I need to give water to the medium to drink when the spirits are incorporated, because that will help. Water is water, right? It won't make anything bad, correct? But this is showing you that you need to study a bit more what mediumship is, how it works, how we interfere or interact in the spiritual world. In theory, the idea does not create any harm. But when you give something to the medium to drink when he are incorporated, you're not giving to the spirit the water. It's not like that. So we need to be attentive in the minor details, because then later on, you have something else. You have not a mediumship, spiritist mediumship anymore. You have something else. Because then you decide to give water, but somebody else had a bad idea. Well, what about a warm chocolate? Because when the spirit is coming here shivering because it's cold, I'll give him a hot chocolate because it'll be much better. Well, if you give water, I can give chocolate, and everybody start to accept, and then evolve to a degree where we lost control and become something else, not a spiritist meeting per se. No, we need to be careful.
They, I don't want to abuse of the patience of everybody.
You are abusing a lot.
Yeah,
You have no
I
idea.
want to do more than one question. Sorry. Sorry, but I was reading, right, in the cheese book, when they speak about the medium formation, they use the right. Then okay, we can only use the mediumship for charity, not for curiosity, not for I don't know, whatever people came up, but then has some another manifestations, right? Then I was curious about the physical one that they speak about, like take a paper, split, and put in a place, and then you'll
Yeah,
be writing. If you want to try things like that to discover ourselves,
there are better ways to discover yourself, right? Chances that you will see that in your life is rare. If you do, you are a rare person, right? So I would recommend to us to stick to the simple things, to stick to the basics, and then eventually we progress to something more complicated. But a mediumship that you are expecting this kind of thing, you may be disappointed, right? So stick to the basics, practice charity, learn how to control our own mediumship, learn how to help others that need to learn how to control their own mediumship, learn how to perceive the spiritual world. Because as I said here today, people think that the benefactors, they have the magical wand or they have superpowers. It's not like that. We need to start to build up our own knowledge about the spiritual world so we can interact better with them, right? Mediums of physical effects, they exist. Yes, they do exist. But I don't think we are here for that. I think we are here to learn what 95% what can happens to us. If we are facing a situation where the physical effect is happening, then is another thing. But I would not even contemplate going that direction without being prepared. Okay? We know that it's much easier for them to infiltrate large societies than small groups, where everybody knows one another. Sometimes a group wants to grow 10, 50, 100, 200. It's impossible to know the individuals. It's impossible to monitor situations that could end up creating losses for the group because it's too big. It's too big. You know, it's already difficult to know. Let's say we have a group of 20 people. It's already difficult. Imagine 200. You're not going to do it. So then it's like you have a group of 200 people in the room. You have a gossip in one corner. You have a complaint in another one. In the middle, we have someone with a different idea to take out the world. You're not able to control it. You're not able to minimize the consequence of whatever may rise with those little fires, if I may call it that. And then when you see the whole center is on fire, because when you have a little fire and you don't treat it accordingly, chances are that the fire will increase to the point that can burn down your house. Thanks to the secret maneuvers that go by unnoticed, they sow doubt, distrust, and disaffection. Under the hypocritical appearance of interest for the cause, they criticize everything and form intimate and exclusive groups that soon break up the harmony of the whole. That is what they want. When dealing with such individuals, it is useless to appeal to the sentiment of charity and fraternity. You would fall on deaf ears because the objective is precisely the destruction of such sentiments, which are the biggest obstacle to their maneuvers. The situation, which is harmful to all societies, is even more so to spiritist societies, for if it does not lead to an outright rupture, it will cause concerns that are incompatible with the concentration and attention needed. And then I ask myself, how to balance a new idea that can help or that can create harm? Sometimes it's very difficult. The line is very, very thin, and we cannot identify. Sometimes we speak with the other members of the group, we are all happy, we agree, we go in that direction. Only afterwards we see that we were wrong. That's fine. It's part of the learning process. If we are wrong, if the outcome is not that positive, take that on board for the next one. Well, but we lost 3 members of our group. Nothing you can do. In one of the spiritist centers that I've worked in Brazil, the benefactor said to the person that was responsible for the group, "Don't worry. Here, the people that will remain here are the people that are part of this group. People that will leave, they were here to learn. But here is not their home. Their home is elsewhere. Don't worry." So bringing to the today business language, we need to have a core business. What is our core business? Kardec. What is the product of our core business? Charity. What should we aim for? Increase our capacity to do charity. We may do something wrong, Our revenue may not be that good on the end of that year. So then we plan again for the following year. And the results are far better. And then we learn from the previous year. It's a shame that we lost a few guys. But look on the other side. We lost 3, but another 10 came. Hopefully those new 10 participants will be part of this home. It's our home after all. And we have to learn. We have to learn. We have to be careful. And maybe not all of you saw me saying here, but sometimes I have to stop people saying, well, yes, but this is not within the Spiritism. What we do here is Spiritism. I know there's a lot of things next door, but what we do here is Spiritism. Why is that? Because we have to have a solid basis to guarantee that what we do, if we start to bring and mix everything on the melting pot, can be anything, could be even good, even better. But it's not Spiritism. And human beings like to transform things as they see fit. For example, today's Carnival in Brazil. Do you guys think it would be positive to put some Carnival music here? Of course not. But if I bring here, perhaps everybody would be quiet, not saying anything. So gradually, everybody, because human beings, when they are exposed to something, they get used to it. And they start to think that that's normal. And then perhaps in 6 months' time, no one would accept to come to this study without Carnival music. Because we've been exposed, we've been formatted, and we got used to it. And then became our reality, our truth. But again, this is not Spiritism anymore. This is something else. As I said here before, I know groups back in Brazil that they do Spiritism and they do Umbanda on the same institution. And they mix things. That's not a problem at all. Perhaps they are more charitable than we are here. They help more people than we help here. And congratulations to them. But this is not Spiritism anymore. This is something else. Paying attention. I'm not saying they are wrong. I clap my hands to them because sometimes they work harder than we do. They help more people than we do. They are better human beings than we are. So there's no judgment at all here. But this is not Spiritism anymore. And interestingly enough, those centers, they call Spiritists to go over there to do lectures. That's very positive. There's no problem at all. They are bringing different knowledge into what they do. We need to see the fruits to identify the tree. If the fruit is nice, the tree is doing well. And that's all. But again, it's no Spiritism anymore. Oh, I have a hand. Sorry. Hi, Liz.
Hi, everyone. Going back to those who enjoy sowing disharmony in groups and, causing distrust and arguments, these people are generally, are in their own self-interest and hungry for power. Normally, they could be classed in psychology as narcissists or psychopaths, but we have to be able to recognize the clues. And again, as you said earlier, like in the obsession, we have to be very careful because you can't label something just because they might be a bit off color one day or something. You have to monitor very, very closely. But the damage they can do, and I've seen it happen with a charity my mother had, where someone was invited in on my say-so even, because he used to be in my class in my first year. But what had changed in those years when he'd grown up and changed into something manipulative. And it ruined the charity for disadvantaged children. We've witnessed it happening. And it's the same if you form anything in a community. You'll always have those that want the positions of recognition and power at the detriment of everyone else. So what I've done is I've just added in the comments a book I recommend that people familiarize themselves with. It's called In Sheep's Clothing: Understanding and Dealing with Manipulative People, by the author George Simon, who's also written many, many really, really good books on psychology. You do have to understand that nature, because, spiritists in general are very charitable people, and they wish no harm and they see no harm in people. So we're big targets, and I am here because of it. I'm suffering because of that. I'm not strong enough to actually, I trust people too easily, I'm told. You see, so I'm talking from experience. Yeah.
Good point. Good point. Very nice. So I'm not going to start another topic today because it's almost time to all vibrations. So I'll save here. Let me stop sharing. Anybody wants to talk about anything else before we pass to, because we have a couple minutes before we pass to the mic to Pablo?
I have a question. When you spoke about music, you said, I'm not saying about classical music. Why you make it this comment?
I would recommend you to seek information about Masaru Emoto.
Emoto. Okay.
And
Make a note.
that will bring you a lot of information. But I wouldn't have classic music either. I was just made the comment in comparison between classic music and a funk music or carnival music, if you like. All right, but when we are in the gathering, when we are in the mediumship meeting, we need to be sure that we don't wear clothes that are not disruptive. We don't wear perfumes that are too strong because the person next to me may be allergic. I should be aware about noises. I should be aware about time. There's so many things we need to be aware of in respect to the other components of the group, also to the benefactors, to the spirits, right? Even if I do like classic music, you may don't. And the effect of that music on you will disrupt whatever you're supposed to be doing on that day, So that's why a mediumship meeting room is simple. We don't have many things. We have a table, we have a chair, paper, pen, pencil sometimes, right? You can have music before to harmonize things. That's not a problem at all. But if you're going to start a mediumship meeting, sorry guys, off. You need to have the appropriate light. You need to have, as far as you can, appropriate temperature. And back in Brazil in the summer, this is an issue because it's really, really hot. We need to have air cons some places. But as soon as we switch on the air con, we have a problem because men's, they have a different thermostat than women's. Men's perceive temperatures in a different way, physically. Men's normally, they feel less the effect of the cold than women. This is organic. So then if you put a temperature like 20 degrees, all the men in the room will be cool, happy. And then you look beside, there's a woman shivering, because she was frozen. So this also could be a point. So you need to find a balance. You need to find a scenario where all are comfortable to have a perfect meeting. Another hand. Hi, Liz.
Hi. All these discussions about what to do, like you said, music, no music, having this, having that, have the other, all these ideas. Well, I think I just have a comment to say sometimes we worry too much about how things look like, the form, the rituals, let's say, in other words, the rituals for something to happen. And we learn in Spiritism that none of it is really important. And what is important is your intention to do charity, your true intentions, isn't it? That only you yourself can evaluate.
Am I right to interpret that you're saying that music is all right?
I am not saying that music is all right and music is wrong. What I'm saying, calling the attention to us being too much worried about how things look like, the form, the rituals, instead of the work in itself. So for me, I'd rather not have music, to be honest with you. And for me, it's best for us to concentrate in the actual work that have to be done, not to adorn and to put little things, sparkly things around it.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
That's a good point, Liz. I think so.
I won't be able to elaborate that anymore because of the time. But Kardec is clear what we should, what we shouldn't in a spiritist mediumship meeting, right? I understand that human beings have different preferences. Somebody that goes into a Umbanda, for example, they only get into the trance in the sound as typical to what they do. Sometimes we feel comfortable in Umbanda, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we feel comfortable in the Spiritism, sometimes I feel comfortable elsewhere. But that's not individual. And here, I do not recommend us to be innovative because we like. We stick to what works. And to me, the basis is Kardec. Saying that, we are all ears for you, Pablo.
So as we do every Saturday, we are going to be together. Let's close our eyes for us to be able to unite and donate. Dear God, once more, we are here together for humanity, for the planet, seeking balance, asking to be a tool to reach out those in need in all corners of earth, in the needs from basic ones like water and food to the needs that are known only to the heart when we feel alone, distressed, hopeless, when we are caught in the middle of a war zone, conflict, when there is so much disadvantage in front of us. So, Father, help us to irradiate love, to irradiate hope, that your plan is perfect, that we can help one another alleviate the pain physically and spiritually, as we collectively put this purpose in our hearts and minds. May our brothers and sisters in need feel a wave of love, healing love, covering the planet. Thank you, Father, for the opportunity once more. So be it.
Amen.
Thank you, everyone. See you all next week.
Thank you.
Yeah,
On
thank you,
Wednesday.
Pablo. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.